our live debate special editions. For today, we're going to discuss about yesterday's in the southern provinces of Thailand. First, Chumpon Constituency first and Songkhla Constituency 6. So please welcome our three commentators, Dr. Charupol Ruangsuwan, lecturer from the Faculty of Political Science, Thammasat University, Sirichok Sopha, former member of Parliament, Songkhla Constituency 7 from Democrat Party, and Ajahn Sirote Klampaiboon, editor and host at Voice TV and columnist at Matichon Weekly. สวัสดีค่ะ
สวัสดีครับสวัสดีครับ
สวัสดีค่ะ
สวัสดี
ครับตอนนี้เรามีอยู่2ท่านก่อนครับ
ใช่ค่ะ So first of all, welcome and thank you for being our guest for today. So how are you this morning?
Well, a bit tired because we were up quite late last night and we had to get up early around 6 o'clock today. So, it's okay to do a live interview in the morning.
Did you watch the update from last night?
Sorry?
Did you watch the update from last night from Chumpon and Songkhla Constituency?
Yes, right after the poll closed, we were there to watch the results coming in late in the evening until about 9 o'clock. Then we were quite clear that the Democrat Party have won both constituencies.
What about you, Dr. Charupol?
Good morning, and thank you so much for having me this morning. I updated the last time was like 11 p.m. last night. Yes, and so far that I knew was the Democrat Party won both constituencies, which is not surprised at all.
Why is it not surprising? Because like everyone, I mean, before everyone is thinking everyone thinking that Palang Pracharat would win.
I still believe in the parties and the candidates themselves, because as we know that the candidates from the Democrat parties, they've been working in the areas for a long time, and of course the brand name of Democrat parties still workable in the southern part of Thailand. So the Palang Pracharat party, we can consider them as the challenger in the area, but this time it seems that the champions still win the battle.
I mean, I myself update until 11 p.m.
I see.
Is it official right now?
Not yet. Is it? We're still waiting for the official results. But last night result was pretty clear, isn't it? I was surprised as well.
Okay, I think we can start our session, and while waiting for Ajahn Siro, so we can start the session and let him jam later, Kunina.
Okay, so let's start our session first because we have some technical problem with the other side of Ajahn Siro. So I would like to talk about the yesterday by-elections. Basically, first of all, I would like to congratulate to the Democrat Party for the victory yesterday and for both Songkhla and Chumpon constituencies. But however, this victory seems to be somewhat a call for the Democrat Party to maybe plan their new strategy, as the voting results of Palang Pracharat are not that far from the voting result of the Democrat Party. Do you think that with this, the Democrat Party should consider to maybe form their new strategy to be approachable to the people and to the new gens, and not to be perceived as the, let's say, elite look, for example?
So this for Kun Sirichok.
Sirichok.
For all intents and purposes, the by-elections were won by Democrat Party, and for both constituencies. Of course, we are very grateful that the Southerners still face trust with Democrat Party. But as you know, by-elections are not easy to win, especially if you are pitted against a ruling party. And of course, we are very pleased with the result yesterday, because elections are totally different to general elections. And to win big or to win by big margin, I think it's very, very difficult. And at the very moment, we're still going through all the data coming out from yesterday's results. And, to our expectation, we discovered that most of our votes did in fact come from the rural area, not the urban area, not the city centers. So in other words, contrary to most people's belief, we are no longer the darling party of middle class and upper class. So our strategy next will somehow try to win the hearts and minds of this particular sector.
Let me ask Kun Sirichok ครับ this is the strategies you see the key strategies remains or along the way is adjusted to meet this, or is originally you already see the end like this?
Well, in fact we know that most of our words nowadays are in fact from the rural people, not from the people in the city centers. So we have to somehow consolidate the votes in the rural area with the votes in the upper class in the urban areas. And I think Kun Thammasat, did the job for us to convert people in the middle class to vote for us. So we gathered enough votes to win the by-elections. So Kun Thammasat was quite instrumental in a way to get that those votes from the middle class to vote for us.
I see.
But do you think that this strategy would be approachable to really be approachable to
not really, because as I've mentioned before, by-elections are totally different to the general election. And the reason that we won yesterday was in fact because we have learned from the past. We know for a fact that we could not win by just using air war. We can not just use the social media platforms to win the election. So we have to work hard, groundwork. And therefore we establish network of volunteers to go around telling people what Democrat Party stand for, what we have done for them, and what we will do for the future. And it did connect to the people in the rural area, especially rubber farmers, because for the first time in their life, before they could not join any program from the government because they do not have the land certificate. But this particular time, Democrat Party devised a scheme calling income guarantee scheme for rubber farmers. And we fought hard for them. So this is the very first time that they can join the scheme and get subsidies from the government. So yesterday, rubber farmers came out in large numbers to vote for Democrat Party.
So I can see that you established and improved their life standards. And well, in terms of this, is unexpected because a lot of people think that Palang Pracharat would win, as I mentioned before. For Dr. Charupol, what will be the next move of Palang Pracharat?
I think it would be a huge and difficult homework for the Palang Pracharat Party. The defeat this time demonstrated that the Democrat Party still have a stronghold with the southern part of Thailand. We have to admit, as you said before the elections, many people predicted that the Palang Pracharat Party would win in both constituencies. But this time, the result has shown us that the Palang Pracharat may have to rethink about their strategy because it's definitely not easy. I think we have to.
Yes.
Sorry, I think we have to look at the nature of the two parties. Okay, first of all, they have pretty much the same supporters, same areas, and for example, like the urban people, higher middle class people, and the elite. Okay, and this time it is not surprised that the result yesterday was quite close. Both parties, they have one common thing, and that is winning in the northeast, and the north is very difficult for both of them. especially in the northern part of the northeast and the northern part of the north, where they're both the strongholds of the Pheu Thai party. So the southern Thailand is the area that both parties have better potential, and so it is crucial for both parties to win this by-election, and also to win the southern constituency as many as possible. So for me, it's not surprised that one day these two parties will eventually clash on each other in the election, because both have similar supporters and stronghold. For example, Bangkok and the southern part of Thailand. So yesterday we saw that both parties have worked so hard to win the by-elections, and the result is what we have seen, that the number wasn't so far from each other. So in terms of the Palang Pracharat Party, they may have to rethink about their strategy. Maybe they have to focus more on the middle of Thailand provinces, and we have to understand that the Palang Pracharat Party is in the previous elections there was more like a task force that collect politicians from different parties and background, and obviously everyone stepped in politics for power. So in this sense, I see Democrat Party is more united, and I think maybe they can survive the hard time better than the Palang Pracharat Party. Yep, and the question is how they're going to manage these similarities, as I mentioned before, between the two parties, and to prevent the clashes as much as possible, especially in the next election, if they still want to be in the coalition parties and work together.
So basically, we can perceive that as a fight between Palang Pracharat and Democrat Party. Can we say that? And they both are coalition government.
I would say that it's a competition. It's a competition between the two parties that have very, very similar identities and characteristics in terms of supporters and areas.
Okay, now we have Ajahn Sirote coming now. Kun Nina.
สวัสดีค่ะอาจารย์ Sirote, welcome ค่ะ So let me continue with Dr. Charupol with the thing we were discussing about. Do you think that because this, as I said, maybe can be perceived as a fight between two parties?
สวัสดีครับ สวัสดีครับ
สวัสดีค่ะ So do you think is it right to do that for both parties, as they both are coalition government?
Yes.
Hello.
Yes, that's the question for Ajahn Charupol. Kun Nina.
Yes.
Okay, sorry about
I
that.
mean, Dr. Charupol or Ajahn Sirote, Ajahn Sirote or Kun Sirichok, I welcome.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Can I add further to the point that Dr. Charupol just mentioned about the clash between the two parties? Well, you really have to look back in time to the past and try to understand the political polarization in Thailand. The crux of the polarization is in fact a sharp division between the two completely opposite ideologies, which move into an identity struggle, namely the red shirts and the yellow shirts, which are supported by pro and anti-establishment political parties. And before the coup d'etat, Democrat Party was regarded by the pro-establishment voters as the party to lead the fight against the anti-establishment political parties. But that all changed after the coup d'etat. The military took over, they rewrote the constitution, they put terms and conditions to make them win easier. And the pro-establishment voters regarded and looked upon the Palang Pracharat Party as the force to be reckoned with, a party to lead the fight against the anti-establishment political party. So they won most of the vote, and we suffered a heavy loss in the last election. So ultimately, as you know, Palang Pracharath Party cannot go across the platform to win votes from the anti-establishment voters. So they have to concentrate and win votes from the pro-establishment voters. So they have to make inroads into Democrat Party's voters. So I'm not surprised that Palang Pracharath Party campaigned mainly in the south, not in the central region, not in the northeast, not in the north, but mainly in the south, because they know they can make an inroad. Okay, so theoretically and practically, we are going to clash whatever conditions, because we have the same supporters, we have the same base. And as you know, one man's gain is another man's loss, basically.
I see. So this is what you see the overall of the what's going on. So Ajahn Sirote, can you hear me? It's certain delay, okay, from Ajahn Sirote, so I can type in the chat, okay. Can you give us overview of yesterday
Yes.
result? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, can you
Yes.
give us overview of yesterday result, Ajahn Sirote? Yes, it's certain delay here, our audience then.
I think the result of the I think the result of the election yesterday is a reflection of so
Is it not a kind of surprise?
I think
Yeah,
Sorry.
I think I have a problem with these things.
Okay, I see. You
is
hear
it
us now?
like what you expect for the result that Democrat Party win over Palang Pracharath ka?
Yes. But well, I yesterday.
I think there's some delay.
I expect that the Democrat will win at Chumphon, but lost at Songkhla. But at the end, the Democrat win both. So yes.
Hello. I think it's the delay things. He frozen now the picture. Okay, let's move to Ajahn.
I think I should leave. Maybe of the connection. So sorry.
Okay.
Okay, that's unfortunately. But okay, let's continue to our questions. So, according to both of you, what are the main factors for the Democrats' Party victory from yesterday? As you said, well, the Democrats has reformed their strategy to be approachable with the rural and establish and improve the life standard of the thousand people. But are there any other factors apart from that?
Were you asking?
Dr. Charupol.
Okay, well, thank you so much. I believe that there are two things. First of all, the brand of the party and the candidates themselves. It is an undeniable fact that the party is still the crucial factor for voters to decide. And the Democrat Party has been the political party that I can say sitting on the hearts of the Southerners for decades. They have built reputation and popularity for a long time, especially in the sense of being a Southerners party. Can this fact be changed? Yes, of course, but it's gonna take time. Okay, and secondly, the candidate themselves are locals who've been working in the area for a long time. They've built strong reputation and popularity as individuals as well, and also the being in the families that long well known in the area is a great asset. Personal relationship and connections are still workable in Thai politics. So combine these factors, it is understandable why they won the election yesterday. And also, as Kun Sirichok mentioned before, in my opinion, Kun Thammasat has also helped them in a sense, especially the speech that he gave the other day. I think first of all we have to understand the nature of the Southern people. They are proud of themselves, and they have the quality that we would call knuckling in Thai, but not in the negative sense. It is knuckling in the positive sense, such as loving each other, sincerity for the groups, for the family, and the communities. So being seen as a part of us is crucial to win the Southerners' hearts. And I also believe that the voters nowadays are much more concerned about their roles as the owner of sovereignty than in the past. So they tend to cherish the value as voters much more than ever. So this means the voters nowadays prefer to have the MP as their servants rather than their bosses. So what I'm trying to say is that Mr. Thammasat's move the other day might be considered as a little bit of looking down on the voters, especially the middle class voters, in a sense. So we have to understand that the voters are proud of themselves. They don't need any MPs to feed them, and saying such things can make the Southerners feel like, well, they don't really understand us. We don't need that, and consequently, well, they're not one of us. So I personally argue that it was not really a smart move and might be one of the reasons. I might be wrong, but that's my personal opinion.
And referring to Kun Thammasat, so it is so clear yesterday that the results, that he was not happy about the results, which he gave a live interview with the Nation TV. He mentioned that in Chumphon's constituency, there was corruption that occurred, and that was never seen in the history before. Kun Sirichok, as the former Songkhla Constituency, can you please tell us about, is it really happening during the by-election? Something like that's really happening?
Well, you have to look back again to the past behavior of Kun Thammasat to understand why he said these things out. To me, he's quite an emotional guy. Yeah. Well, we say in English that he's a nudnik person, very irritated very easily, as you've seen in many occasions. And he was expected to win big in both constituencies. So it came as a shell shock to him when he lost both constituencies. So he had to say something which I think it's honest, it's not true. And in fact, he should not be the person who said it, because just a few days ago, the Election Commission just passed a sentence, and the Lampang Member of Parliament, which Kun Thammasat was in charge, was indicted for vote buying, and Kun Thammasat was lucky; he escaped narrowly. So yesterday, in fact, he was quite a hypocrite to come out and say that the election is not, it's not honest, it's corruption, etc. So
well, he said he has proof.
Well, the election commissioner has proof also with Lampang by-election. What can you say to that?
So, but as a former Songkhla Constituency 7, is it something like this really happening?
Well, as Ajahn Charupol mentioned before, the south of Thailand is the base for our supporters, and in the past we have never used any money to buy votes, contrary to other parties. Okay, and I think it's still the practice that we do in Democrat Party in the South. So we deny that we buy votes. Well, I'm not sure whether Kun Thammasat can say the same thing. Okay, so.
Okay, since we're running out of time, so I would like to wrap up quickly for both of you that after the unofficial result release, however, both parties, as you mentioned before, share the same common things, and they both are coalition parties. Do you think that because this is kind of considered between a fight between both parties. Do you think that this both party later on can still work together, can still or is it a time for Democrat Party to stand on its ground and stop being compromising as a coalition government? Let's hear from Kun Sirichok first.
Well, I think you're asking the wrong person, because if I were to make it into parliament, I would have voted for Prayut in the beginning, So if the Democrat Party voted for Prayut and joined the coalition partnership, I don't think it's difficult for them to carry on. It's quite easy, So not to worry.
What do you think, Kun Dr. Charupol?
I think yes and no. Yes and no. Personally, I believe that there would be no problem in this coalition government, because the voting in the parliament would still be in the same direction as before. The coalition parties still need to each other in order to gain, benefit from being government, and incumbent power is still important for political parties in the next elections. But I also think that if these kinds of competitions, among the coalition parties happen again and again, it might not be healthy for the government in the long run. What I'm concerning here is what we so-call the political manners. For example, in this by-election, normally if the coalition party run an election against, especially in their stronghold, the other coalition party wouldn't run against. It is some kind of a manner in Thai politics. So I believe. So if these kinds of competition happen repeatedly, maybe in the future it might create some negative feelings within the coalition government. We have to keep in mind that politics is very dynamic. If they cannot find an equilibrium in terms of power and interest, things can be shifted. So it depends on voters, it depends on the cost and benefit analysis, and also the circumstances in the political game.
But the battle's still not finished, isn't it? Because at the end of this month, we still have another by-elections in Laxi. What would be your forecast on this, Kun Charupol?
My forecast would be maybe Pheu Thai Party or Khao Klai Party, in my opinion. And actually, the by-election in Laxi can show you something as well. This is my personal opinion. I don't know the facts. So I believe that the fact that the Democrat Party didn't send the candidates, maybe because of the political manner that I mentioned before. This is my personal opinion. I don't really know the facts in Democrat Party. For that by-election, I still believe that Pheu Thai Party and the Khao Klai Party would be the number one and number two. We have to admit that in the case of Pheu Thai Party, Kun Surachat Intong, right? I also lived in Laxi, in Chinakhet district. So personally, I've been seeing Mr. Surachat for years, and he literally working hard every single day. I have to admit that he's like I couldn't believe that, and I also think that it is very, very admirable. So I think the local people see that a guy who trying to help people every day, even though he doesn't have any title. That's kind of impressive, and I still think that he's going to win these elections. But also, we have to understand that Bangkok is a very, very dynamic area. So social networking and the reputation of Khao Klai Party may help Mr. Phet Karunpon, right? Right. Yes. To gain some votes, and I think at the end it might be pretty close by elections.
Well, thank you very much. And since we're running out of time, Kun Sirichok, what would you like to add anything more in the Southern by elections?
Well, we have to thank the Southerners for those that voted for us for both constituencies. Of course, we have been working very hard. We were united in fighting a common foe, which is Palang Party this time. So, congratulations for candidates that won the election.
Okay.
Okay, so thank you very much, all of you, for being here. And it is no doubt that with the results of the by-elections, unofficial result of the by-elections, that the Southerners still adore their favorite Democrat Party. So since we're running out of time, I would like to thank you, both of you, Dr. Charuwan and Kun Sirichok.
Thank you so much.
Sawasdee ka.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.